All right. With that being said, make sure.
Jesus Christ.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Hello, anyone that's woke up the next morning and said, fuck, did I pay my bar tab? And then realized that you asked to pay your bar tab about 6 times to the bartender. Welcome to another beautiful episode of Drunken Demonic. I am your host, Jamie fucking Knudsen.
I'm Peter.
He's just Peter.
Yep. Nothing special over here. Nothing to see.
Well, shucks darn it. And on this wonderful episode, we're going to be diving into what Peter said is the 3X killer.
Yeah, I wrote a whole teaser. You ready?
Now let's hear it. So without further ado, here comes...
This is just what we're going to be covering later. This is what the main event.
Let's hear that. Let's hear that main event footage.
It's 1930 in the heart of New York City. The world is whipped by the Great Depression, but in the bustling streets, a much darker story is unfolding. A mysterious figure emerges from the shadows. He calls himself X. 2 men are brutally murdered, and chilling letters are left behind, taunting the police and hinting at something far bigger. A secret society, perhaps? Maybe a twisted game, or just the delusions of a madman. The killer disappears as quickly as he came, leaving behind more questions than answers. Tonight, we're diving into the haunted mystery of the 3X killer, a case so strange, so unnerving, it'll leave you questioning whether he truly ever left.
Full disclosure, I think I researched the wrong thing.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I watched, so I didn't understand, but Vin Diesel was in it.
Oh, no, that's Triple X, dude.
And he was like a snowboarder.
That movie was so sick.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't know why he wants to do this on the podcast.
No, that's
whatever.
the same story.
It is?
Yeah.
The Triple X is the same. 3X is the same as Triple X. All right.
Yeah, where he drives cars and he jumps helicopters and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you jump a helicopter? I didn't think about that one. Just kind of fell out of
You're
my face.
saying things out of your mouth. I guess that's where you say things out. He does do a ridiculous backflip snowboarding.
Yeah, it's fucking sick. When he jumps out of the tram?
No. Well, so now that we know we both researched the same thing. We are going through the murders of 3X, also known as Vin Diesel's movie Triple X. I think that's a lie. I think you're lying to me.
It was loosely based on this story.
Well, with that being said, let's go into our sponsor. We have one sponsor. Hold it up close, Pete. What is it? Turn it. The other, read, dummy.
Puro Verde from Tommyknocker Brewing, located in Idaho Springs, Colorado. Did I get all that right?
You did.
I just made it up. So.
It's a green chili lager from Tommyknocker Brewery. I think Peter's going to hate this.
Good crack, though.
Cheers, sir.
Hey, cheers, motherfucker.
I like it. You hate it, don't you? What are you going to do? Just not drink?
Nice one. Fucking way to start the jokes off early. This isn't great for me.
What do you mean it tastes awesome?
It does have hints of green chili, but the aftertaste is, in my opinion, maybe a little lacking.
No, it's got a hatch in my throat.
It's hatching?
I can feel the hatch green chili, like, at the end. I think this is one of the better green chili burgers I've ever had. Fresh, crispy, kicking, is that what it's say?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm going to drink it.
You don't have to. I'll drink all these.
I don't have to like it, but I'm going to drink it.
Okay.
Because other than that, we've got water.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a liquor sponsor for the night because no one cares to sponsor us. Until then, though.
Until then.
I guess I have to drink green chili beer.
Green chili beer. So let's go into...
We're going to do Hell on Earth, bud.
We're doing Hell on Earth.
So, my Hell on Earth story is going to be a little bit different from what we normally cover here. A lot of the times when we do these Hell on Earth stories, we focus on true crime, primarily centered around murder. But what we fail to neglect quite often, or what we often neglect...
Fail to neglect.
Yeah, we don't fail to neglect it. We pay a lot of attention to murders. What we do neglect is perhaps the most important true crimes that happen all the time, every day. Insurance fraud.
Also, last week you talked about a squirrel. I guess...
Yeah, but the squirrel was murdered.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about what happens, the murdering of your money.
Yep. All right, here's the headline. Operation Bear Claw reveals suspects allegedly wore bear costume to commit insurance fraud. Four Los Angeles area residents were arrested today after a Department of Insurance investigation in California found the suspects allegedly committed insurance fraud by claiming a bear had caused damage to their vehicles, but it was actually one of the men in a bear costume. Have you heard about that?
I did see it. Sorry. I'm sorry it's late at night, so that's why I'm yawning.
Yep.
Not because you bored me, because it was a very thrilling story, but it's true.
So,
I did see this.
So, yeah.
They make claw marks, right?
Dude, yeah, there's this. So, not only do they have, like, photo evidence that because, like, with these things, you have to submit evidence to get any money from the claims. There was 3 different claims that these men had filed. They had a 2010 Rolls-Royce Ghost, a 2015 Mercedes G63 AMG, and a 2022 Mercedes E350.
Okay.
I don't know what any of that shit really means. I don't know why there's so many numbers in them.
It's just
but hey,
models of cars, right?
Yep. So they had these pictures that they submitted where there were like on the sides of the car, inside there's some scratch marks, as well as like the leather seats were scratched up. And then some of the roof was scratched as well. Pretty much there was just scratches all around.
Scratches hurt.
Yep. So they sent in these pictures. They also, from like ring footage from this place that they were staying at.
Yeah.
Yep. They have video evidence that they submitted. And this is where they fucked up because have you seen the video?
No, all I saw were the pictures.
It is. So, okay. Well, I'll finish the story before I really get ripping into how ridiculous this whole thing is.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
But they claimed 3 separate complaints where they got $150,000 total in compensation was granted to these men.
So they were paid?
They were paid.
And then later they're like, wait, that's you.
They have someone that audited this insurance claim and they review the video and you look at the video and I don't know how it ever got approved because it is 1000% a dude wearing a bear costume. The guy walks up to the one that I saw, the guy walks up to the car and Lou just opens the handle, right? Then puts on the claw, gets in, and he just kind of sits in the passenger seat for a second. And then he turns and he just kind of like starts like hitting stuff while he's wearing like, they look like Wolverine claws.
Hulk hands.
Yeah, they're kind of like Hulk hands, except they have claws.
No, I just think about the ones where you could buy as a kid when the first Hulk movie came in.
Yeah, dude, those were sick.
Those are tight.
You never punched your sisters with those?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. You know what I'm talking about.
So get this straight. He sits in the car.
Yep.
Where the camera's at.
Yep.
And then he proceeds to put his gloves on.
Kind of. Yeah.
Camera.
Well, did you think he's hiding? Okay. He opens the door and then you can kind of see him fidget with something behind the open door because it's like it's a ring camera from the door of the house that they're staying or wherever these cars are parked out in front of. This audit reveals that this may be questionable whether or not this is a real bear or not. I think the reason why they were processed so fast to begin with is because who the fuck would do this? Pretend to be a bear and actually have video evidence of a bear getting in your car. But they did bring in a biologist from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife to review the evidence, and he determined that the movements were not consistent with that of a bear.
Yeah, no shit.
Because of this, a search warrant was granted, and they raided the home of 2 of the men, and they just found the bear costume with the claws in the closet.
Of course.
Yep. So these men have all been arrested. This happened 2 weeks ago. I think the whole thing kind of went down early November.
That's right close to us.
Yep.
2 weeks ago, like you said.
Yep. So that is the true crime news that I have, is something that plagues all of the American heartland: insurance fraud.
One would say that was unbearable.
They bear witness.
I can't even bear it. Moving on. Okay. I don't know if you know, but 2 weeks ago, something else happened with the government. Is they had
The election?
that too. That was 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
They had a UAP hearing on November 13th.
Can you describe UAP for me?
Oh, I had to look it up.
It's aerial phenomenon.
Aerial phenomenon, because I keep wanting to say UFO.
Yeah.
So
I'm just
pretty much
for our
UFO.
listeners that don't know what
Yes.
UAPs are.
It's unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Yep.
Also known as used to be UFOs, but ever since they decided that
Thanks, Obama.
yeah, it might be Biden actually, or it might be Trump, when they decided that they were going to come out and say that UFOs are real.
Yep.
But they changed the name of UFOs then to UAP.
Yep.
Because of that.
Well, another big thing is that not all phenomena are flying phenomena.
Mhm.
They have, there's a lot of what we would now refer to as UAPs
Mhm.
that are they come from the ocean sometimes,
Mhm.
and they'll surface and then they'll go back down. So this classification of UAP is a more broad acceptance of unidentified aerial
Yeah. Can you do me a favor? Can you say phenomena again?
phenomena.
One more time.
Phenomena.
It sounded just like it. All right. So they had this UAP meeting. The Senate did. No, it's going to Senate.
Hearing.
The hearing.
But
It's going to Senate.
Yep.
In 2 weeks. And they had 3 people testify.
Are these the same guys that have been doing all these disclosures in the last year or so?
I assume so. So you have one guy that was a Navy SEAL.
Yes.
You have one guy that was part of the Army.
Yep.
And then you have one lady.
Okay. That is these, I think.
Okay, I can read it right here. So the hearing, let me just read this real quick for you.
Read your blurb.
Thank you. So the key points of the UAP hearing on November 13th include the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Oversight and Accountability held a hearing to further investigate UAP sightings and the government's knowledge of them. The hearing aimed to pull back the curtains of secret UAP research programs conducted by the U.S. government and undisclosed findings. The U.S. Department of Defense are strict classification policies regarding the UAP and related topics for example. Sorry, it's really far away and I'm blind, so I can't see. The hearing explored ways to ensure the American public is better informed about UAP sightings and potential threats. Expert witnesses included Louis L. Lonsdo, a former counterintelligence officer who claims the U.S. government is hiding knowledge of UAP, and Tim Gallaudet, a retired U.S. Navy Rear Admiral who agrees that the unidentified, basically these people are just saying, yes, they've seen them.
Yeah.
When they were working in the Army.
Okay, so these are different people than last year.
Really?
Yes, because I know what those guys are off the top of my head. I can't remember, but they do have a really good podcast. I believe it's called The Unidentified.
Yes. These same people?
Not these guys. These are new witnesses. So pretty much what you're saying is that all of what we would call the U.S.'s Project Blue Book,
mm-hmm.
which started in the 1950s about researching UFOs and encounters with extraterrestrial beings, are now being released. Is that what we're talking about?
They're asking for the government to release everything,
right?
That they have.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing. One of the big things that I'm guessing it was the guy in the Marines was saying that he saw things coming out of the ocean.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest thing that they're saying. That's no, they're not coming from the sky.
Yep.
They're in our oceans right now. And the more we figure out the the better we'll be able to protect ourselves.
You, the drums, banging in the deep.
What is that?
It's from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I've never seen Lord of the Rings. Is that a show?
I don't want to do this.
I'm fucking with you.
I'm mad at you already. Okay.
There's another hearing, like I said, going to the Senate in like 2 weeks.
These same guys are going to go, because this is through committee, right? So we have like the House Judiciary Committee is going to be looking at this specific one. All right. You mentioned that this one guy works for the Department of Defense, tying into the Pentagon. They just failed another audit, meaning they have zero idea where any of the money, 815, was it billion, that they were given last year by Joe Biden? I can't remember. They can't account for where it goes. We should be either spending all of it on aliens, or we need to have accountability. If they're going to hide it, they can spend it on aliens. I don't care. But if they're not going to spend it on aliens, I think they need to tell us where it's going.
At least give me a little bit of money.
Yeah, dude.
At least like
$815 billion.
At least not make me pay $2,000 at the end of the year after taking a bunch of taxes from me. Or at least
that's it.
At least tell me that there's aliens.
Yeah, yes. Pick one. I'll pay $2K for some aliens.
So
I need photos, dude.
Real concrete evidence.
Yeah, I want to meet an alien if I'm paying more than $2K.
What if you've already met an alien? You just don't know it. They haven't researched it yet.
Dog, why you gotta?
There's a lot of weird people out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird people, dude. That's like that's part of the whole thing, dude. The Greys have already assimilated in.
Oh, yeah.
Hillary Clinton, lizard person.
Definitely.
Right? We already know these things.
Yes.
That's why, you see those sweet, like, really ridiculous conspiracy videos on, like, Instagram about, like, follow our conspiracy page. And it's, like, Hillary Clinton, like, turns at one point and, like, her whole face changes. Exactly. It's definitely not at all CGI or anything that they've manipulated.
No way.
It's definitely just actual news footage.
Mm-hmm. Always has to be.
Sweet. I think you have to update us as we keep going forward.
So I kind of did a wishy-washy job because I was trying to read and I found out that it was too dark for me to read.
Reading is hard.
Yeah, I'm not that smart. But
but you do know what love is?
I do know what love is. But the biggest thing is that I got from the whole hearing that I like on and off listened to was the aliens are coming from the ocean.
Okay.
And it's the biggest thing that you get on TikTok right now.
Now, where is Tom DeLonge in all of this?
I didn't see him once.
He wasn't there?
Nope.
Who are these people being represented by?
Not Tom DeLonge.
He's not to the Stars Academy?
He's going to come out with a song to explain it later.
Okay.
But that's all I have, Pete.
All right.
Did you watch anything? Can we go to horror news?
Yeah, we're on horror news now. I think I went first.
Horror news.
So it's your turn.
Horror news. Horror news. Horror news.
Horror
news. Yeah.
That was clean.
So I did watch Heretic. And
tell me.
Like the internet said, it was phenomenal.
I haven't seen anything about it.
Really?
You guys both.
It stars Hugh Grant, and he asks Mormons or 2 Mormon missionaries to come to his house, and it's a good movie. And I'm not going to finish that because everyone has already talked about how great this movie is, and I feel like I watched a movie that is by far better that I would like to talk about.
Okay.
In heart of the season. That is.
So you're gonna not really give us a review on that.
No, I'm not.
Are you gonna?
I'm gonna say watch it. I'm gonna say watch.
You're just gonna say watch. Okay.
When people say that it's one of the better horror movies of the year, I'm gonna go agree with them.
Okay.
But I just watched this movie that just took more precedence over Heretic.
Okay.
It's the 2006 classic Thanksgiving.
2006?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you ever seen Thanksgiving?
I thought you were saying Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Right? That's the one that came out last year was Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is the one by Eli Roth.
Yes.
About
I have seen Thanksgiving. It is, or Thanksgiving, sorry. It's, I think, one of the earlier movies I distinctly remember where the marketing ploy, as we kind of talked about in our Halloween series, was There are tits in the first minute of this movie.
Yes.
Yep.
So I really thought that you were...
Exploitation film to the max.
I thought you were lying when you said you watched this because you said marketing. I don't think this thing has any marketing at all. But yes, so the first minute drops you in on a pilgrim that is very scared.
Yep.
Obviously a porn star.
Yep.
And she's just a pilgrim with her tits out.
Yep. Just running through the...
Run around all scared.
Yep.
She's like, oh, no.
I remember.
And you don't know who the person is that's chasing. And then it cuts to...
are you going to say it's a person?
No, it cuts to a turkey with a knife.
Yep.
And all he says is... Do you know what he said?
I don't remember.
He says, nice tits, bitch.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And stabs him. And you're like...
Because this came out right around the same time as Shrooms, and I feel like there was all of this, like, they were all kind of doing very similar things. So, like, the dialogue in these movies is so fucking phenomenal because they're trying to make fun of the genre itself.
I assume there's got to be some point where it's making fun of slasher movies.
Yep. I do remember this movie, though. I'll have to check it out.
In the heart of the Thanksgiving time,
yep,
this thing does not disappoint. It's an hour of 6 minutes of pure bliss.
Love it.
There are a couple parts. I guess should I spoil a little?
Well, it's definitely like if you're looking for a high quality made movie, it's not that. It's definitely what we would call B horror. Maybe B horror.
I would say C horror.
Yeah.
Be honest.
It's just it doesn't have great production value.
No, but what it lacks in production, it makes up in
heart
and
tits.
No, I think that's the
I think that's really
set of boobs.
Yeah.
The only set of boobs is the beginning. I would say the script is phenomenal.
Yep.
What really got me was they have a joke about this girl being a hoe, and the non-hoe girl goes, "Your legs can't close, just like the John Benet Ramsey case," and everyone just starts laughing. Right? This is at the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
Cut to the middle of the movie when they drop her off to go have sex, and this girl goes, "Your legs won't close, just like the Benet Ramsey case," and they just all laugh and act like it never happened again, to the point where I was like,
wait a minute,
did they just two-time me?
They used the same joke in the movie twice.
Yeah.
I forgot that movie. I'm glad that you brought it back up. It's so good.
If you ever want to see a turkey have sex with a girl and her get confused about it, this is also that movie.
Yep. In case you were ever wondering what that would look like.
It's terrible.
Check this movie out.
Are you uncomfortable?
Also, you can also see what it would look like for a turkey to carry around a knife, which I haven't seen a lot of. I do remember this was definitely in like the heyday of my like drunken college days. Just classic fucking hangover horror movie is what I would call it.
Why need
perfect hangover horror movie?
It's perfect for this time of year.
Yep.
Takes.
So make sure you watch it with your family when they're home visiting.
Probably don't. It's expensive. You can watch it on Roku TV.
Yeah,
for free.
You don't even have to have a subscription.
Go ahead. It's your turn. You're so upset right now.
I'm not upset. I love this movie. I don't know if you...
It's great.
We've never talked about it before, but I do remember this movie being like formative, I would say. All right. So for my horror news, I watched a TV show that is on Amazon Prime. It's called Channel Zero, and it's created by Nick Antosca. It's pretty much an anthology horror series centered around creepypasta. So for those that don't know what creepypasta is, it's pretty much like online short stories about horror that users pretty much submit, and what they did.
I don't know.
So you don't know anything about this?
I was thinking like the spaghetti monster, like the fake Jesus thing.
No,
like all
a lot of this comes from like Reddit and 4chan and shit like that.
I don't 4chan, dude. I'm sorry.
On pretty much like
a dork like you.
Okay. Anyways, they're like, think of it like, you remember like short stories to tell in the dark and stuff like that, or scary stories to tell in the dark,
like Creep Show.
Yes, that kind of stuff. But it's an online gathering of these things, and they've been all put under the umbrella, no matter where they're, like, what website they're hosted on or message board or whatever. They come under the term of creepypasta, which is they're not professionally done stories. They're just random people that are writing scary stories that they think are funny or that they think that are silly or whatever.
Who decided this name?
I don't know where the name actually came from. I didn't research that.
Bunch of fucking dorks. I'm sorry. It's okay. I forgive you.
It's okay. But anyways, what they've done is each season is going to be a spin on one of these, like, more prominent classic creepypasta themes. And the first season is the one that I watched. It's called Candle Cove. And it's about this guy who's a psychologist. And he returns to his hometown to determine if his brother's disappearance is somehow connected to a string of similar incidents and murders that are now happening in his hometown. And it's all kind of based around this really creepy, weird television show aired in the past when he was a kid and his brother disappeared, his twin brother. And now all of a sudden this TV show is airing again. It was, I thought, really good, especially the way that it ended. It started out really strong. The middle, I kind of, like, you start to see, I want to call, like, the cracks. And, you know, this is not a Hollywood story.
Okay.
You know, you don't have professional writers doing this.
No.
A lot of these stories are coming from people like you and me that just sit on their computer and they decide to write up a scary story and then they can publish it online for people to go read. You know, it's independently published work and you can kind of see a little bit of that in the middle of it, but it really does kind of come through. And I like the last two episodes are, like, quite good and tie this whole thing back together. And Channel Zero, it was really cool. And I'm excited to watch the other seasons because they're anthology seasons. And so it's going to be a totally different story. Anyone that likes horror should at least give these a try. And you don't have to start with season 1. You can start wherever you want. This is anthological.
Yeah. Don't matter.
Nothing wrong with good horror TV. I think it's one of those maybe not so prominent genres.
Horror TV?
Horror TV.
It's about to be.
Yep.
That's a rhyme. They're making a lot of horror TV now. Yeah, for Thanksgiving.
So, yeah.
Sure, I said.
I don't know.
Yeah, so this is on Prime.
Yep.
Correct?
Check it out on Prime. Yep.
Awesome. With that being
thought it was
said,
very good.
Nice.
It's fine. You don't have to say anything else. Well.
Oh, I didn't have a segue. I said, well, Peter, I'm intrigued. I've never heard of this.
I had never heard of it either. I kind of just stumbled across it while I was scrolling, and I was like, huh, this looks interesting.
The old doom scroll.
Yep.
With that being said, we just really romped through.
Yeah, we're cruising, dude.
So let's get to this main event.
I think we're ready for it.
Do you have another, like, whole speech that you're going to do again?
No, not at all. The story that we're going to talk about tonight, as we mentioned earlier, is the story of either the 3X murders or the 3X killer, depending on how you want to phrase it.
Not a serial killer.
Technically, not a serial killer,
not.
as determined by, what was it, the FBI in the 70s, I think it was, coined the term serial killer. He would be what was called at the time a chain killer, meaning that there's more than one crime connected to another.
Yeah, it has to be 3 people.
Yep.
To be a serial killer.
Yep. They didn't really have any of those terms
No.
back in the 1930s.
Exactly. Huh. See?
Yep. We're just driving around, tipping our caps at all the ladies.
All right. Let's get into this juicy bit.
All right. This juicy bit.
Fucking love murder.
Hell yeah, dude. So we teased a little bit about this earlier, but this case has completely slipped under the radar for me until I, like, randomly stumbled across it one night. I'm like, I think a lot of people that like true crime. No, it's not pooping. I like listening to true crime to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And so every now and then I'll, like, look out for a new podcast or something like that, something to kind of put me to sleep. And I stumbled across this case, just literally picked a podcast, scrolled like 3/4 of the way down it and just clicked play. And all of a sudden this story popped in and I think it was meant to be.
Uh-huh.
When we bring up this story, the main things are we have not only a killer that is targeting people that are in a lover's lane, taunting the police, as well as leaving corresponding messages that are full of cryptic, like, type information that no one really understands. And we're not talking about the Zodiac or the Son of Sam or BTK. We're talking about in my opinion, one of the greater true crime mysteries that I've ever heard, because I have no idea who this person could even possibly be or what their motives for any of this crime was.
So you think this is better than the Zodiac?
I think this is a better mystery than the Zodiac.
Wait.
I do. I honestly do. And we can talk about it once I get through the whole story here.
No, you're right.
Yep. All right. It's June 11th, 1930. We're in the heart of New York City, College Point. Joseph Morzinski, 39. Okay, I'll stop. Morzinski, 39, has just picked up his hot date, Catherine May.
Mm-hmm.
She's 19. They're just cruising along. He's 39.
That's why I was like, why'd you bring up that he's 19?
I did. Well, I said he's 39. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they got a 20-year age difference. She's half his age.
Yep.
Scandalous.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, they pull up this lover's lane and they're jumping in the back of their necking. And all of a sudden, this man approaches holding a gun and he raps on the window. He tells Joseph to get up front and he gets in the back with Catherine. He instructs Joseph then to start the car. And then as soon as the car started, immediately shoots him twice. Once behind the ear, then Joseph spins and he shoots him again into the side of the mouth. I should also mention at this point that all of this instruction from this man, from this mystery man, is with a heavy German accent. So,
oh, yeah?
You must get out of the car. It's in the front.
Oh, I just solved it. It was Arnold.
It wasn't, dude. This is 1930.
Oh, doesn't mean it wasn't him.
All right. So now Joseph is dead.
He's going to dismiss my thing. Okay, whatever. Go on. Tell your story. I already solved it. No point.
We just don't give you enough credit. I think that's the biggest thing that we've learned so far.
Yeah. There better be a gold star in my fridge when I get home.
All right.
Where were you?
Well, so Joseph Morzinski has just been shot twice in the fucking head. He's not dead, though. For all intents and purposes, he is dead.
Yeah.
But he got shot twice in the face. After he shoots him, he proceeds to rape Catherine May. Now, after raping Catherine May, the killer gets out of the car, searches through Joseph's pockets, and finds some papers. He shakes his head and then lights them on fire. After these papers have been burnt, he takes Catherine May at gunpoint and walks her several blocks to the nearest trolley station and gives her a letter asking her not to read it until the next day.
What were the papers in his pocket?
We don't know. We can't ask Joseph. He did. And Catherine didn't know.
Okay.
And 3 X's.
Exactly. So just like,
we don't know. We don't know what was exactly. We don't know what was in the paper or what the papers were. Okay. On the trolley, Catherine opened and read the letter, which was stamped in red ink, which Jamie will kindly read now in his best German murderer accent. Jamie, please read letter 1.
Joseph Morzinski, 35307. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's it.
The next day, police would find Joseph's dead body and identified him from his ID. Now, it was later disclosed that Joseph had only been dead, so they found him around 9 a.m. He'd only been dead for about an hour and a half before police found him.
So they're necking at 8 o'clock in the morning?
No. He was shot, what they're guessing, was around 8:30 to 9 o'clock the night before.
He just sat there and fucking died, slow? That sucks.
Yep. So, the next day, when they find Joseph, they find him with a picture of Catherine in his wallet. They also find his ID. They go to Joseph's house to talk to his wife, and his wife identifies Catherine as their former landlord's daughter. They also let her know that her picture was found in his pocket, which is real fucking awkward. That's a pretty shitty way to find out your husband's cheating on you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's dead. And also he had the picture of the girl he's cheating on you with in his wallet. So sorry about that.
Well, the old landlord's daughter.
Yep.
The B side of Loretta Lynn's.
Coal miner's daughter. a dumb dude.
You're dumb, dude. Why are you laughing?
All right, so
dummy?
police are pointed towards Catherine. They bring her in for questioning. Now, she is, for the first 2 days, so she's held by the police for 3 days total. And the first 2 days, she completely claims all that we just discussed. She claimed to have gone through all of these things and doesn't deviate from that story at all.
Mm-hmm.
By the third day, so she also claimed that she didn't go to police. One, because she was absolutely terrified that this killer was going to find her if she went to the police. And two, she didn't want to admit to her parents or have her parents find out that she was fooling around
And she
with a
slept.
married man.
All being all hussy.
Yep.
Maybe she loved him. I take that back. Can't call her a hussy. Maybe she was in love.
Could have been.
Once
Either
we
way,
know.
not a great reason to not go to the police when you see someone get murdered in front of your face.
True. Why didn't I think of that?
Yep. Like we said, she sticks with her story of that the man came to the car, shot Joseph, raped her, and then escorted her to this train stop and sent her on her way with this letter. After that, police were like, no, that's not what happened. They found it completely unbelievable. So then she claimed that a killer was a former love interest of hers. They tracked down that lead, and he was in Chicago at the time. Definitely not him. Then she claimed that it was
York, right?
yeah, this fictional gangster named Alberto Lombardo. Well, she named Alberto Lombardo, and then they're like, okay, let's go see if we can find this Alberto Lombardo guy. He doesn't exist.
Have you looked for Lenny Lick? How about Peter McPaphorn?
That's some pumplers. So finally, she says, I did it. And police are like, really? Did you do it? She's like, maybe. I don't, just please let me go. Police finally let her go. But that is only because at the same time that Catherine was being endlessly interrogated by police, the editor of the New York Evening Journal was sifting through letters to the editor.
I was followed for what appeared to be a jumbled code of letters and numbers the rest of the world read. By doing this, you may save their lives, and the women you may know are missing papers are who has them since the day were given to Mosinski. We do not want any more shootings unless we have to. It was signed 3X, the man behind the gun. Yeah.
Yas. All right.
That's not true.
So to summarize the letter that Jamie most eloquently just read to us, what he claims is that Mosinski was meant to be targeted by him. Or print this letter so that Mosinski's friends know that he knows who they are and he needs his documents. He also, again, claims to be responsible for the killings. The editor initially thought to throw this letter in the trash because it looked like completely random gibberish until he remembered that a story the journal had run that morning was about the murder of a guy named Joseph Mosinski. And he also noticed that the letter was actually postmarked hours before the crime had even apparently occurred. He forwarded that letter over to the police, and it was likely that this was the letter that, for the most part, set Catherine May free.
Why? Doesn't really say shit.
It says that he definitely killed him.
Yeah.
And he says, hey, if we don't want any more bloodshed, please return the documents.
In so many words.
It's a lot of words. Dude, that's like the second shortest letter.
I saw that. I was just like,
So,
I'm not saying it was, yes, it was a short letter. I'm just saying it beat around the bush about him saying that he killed someone.
Yep.
I don't see anywhere it says it. No. Yeah. We may not want to shoot unless we have to. That's it. All right. Go on.
So anyways, Catherine May is set free. The journal did not make mention of the letter in that evening's paper or the following morning. However, the evening following the first letter, now June 14th, the journal received another letter, which read, letter number 3, Jamie.
Why? Gentlemen, for your information, the young lady, Miss C. May, involved in this case is innocent and a victim of unfortunate circumstances. Mosinski was nothing but a rascal, a dirty rat. Not 2 women as stated in the papers, but a 6 and 2 young girls, 14 and 1 15, were with him in that same place. I am the agent of Secret International Order, and when I met Mosinski that night, it was to get from him certain documents. but unfortunately they are not in his possession at the time. If his relative knew so much of his luck with women, maybe he would tell us what became of the following items: IX-26-73, NJ4 3-44, Philadelphia, XV346. These papers must be returned to us at once, or the Ida 14 more Mazinski's friends will join him. Mazinski's relatives and friends have to Monday, 12 p.m. to read these documents, says, or someone will have to get in touch with us and tell us where to find him. If no answer is received at that time, we will start to merry hell for all of them.
To make that whole message short, pretty much he's saying, hey, I definitely killed him. Girl didn't have anything to do with it. Please let her go. Also, I'm going to kill all these people until I get, or like all these people are on the chopping block until I get these documents that I'm looking for. He specifically notes which documents they are. It's all this weird code that no one is going to understand except for the killer and whoever the killer's potential, like who he's trying to get in touch with. Again, he signs it with X, the man behind the gun. From here, we're going to jump 2 days later to the evening of June 16th. Noel Sowley and Elizabeth Betty Ring were out cruising. Their former love interests. Betty had just finished divorcing her former husband and was rekindling a relationship with Mr. Sowley.
Just finished.
Yep. Literally, they just finished. I think it was like a week or two. So good for them. He was 28 and she was 16. So or maybe she was 18. I'm pretty sure it's 16 now. I don't know how you divorce at 16. I don't know how you get married at 16. I don't know how you get divorced at 16.
Those are simpler times then.
Simpler? Like you sound like you miss it. Those were the days.
Simpler where you could marry
and get divorced.
And divorced.
Yeah. All right. So like the first couple, these folks ended up in a secluded lover's lane. While the two were fooling around in the back of the car, a man approached and knocked on the window of the vehicle with a flashlight. Noel rolled down the window and was asked for his ID, which he gave to the man, who spoke with his German accent. After studying the driver's license, the man turned his flashlight to a nearby hill and began turning it on and off. When Noel asked the man what he was doing, he replied, "I am signaling my friends that I do not need assistance." He then asked if he knew Joseph Moisinski, which Noel denied. At this point, the killer pulled a gun out of his jacket and shot Noel in the face. Again, the shot was not fatal, however, and Noel claimed that he was not the man he was looking for. The killer then walked to the back of the car, seemed to check the license plate before returning to the window and claiming, "No, you're Sowley, all right." The killer then rifled through Noel's pockets, removing some papers, and then excitedly claimed, I've got it. He stuffed the papers into his jacket pocket and began to climb into the back seat with Betty. However, when she claimed to be a Catholic and wore a pendant of a saint around her neck, the killer changed his course and proceeded to escort Betty to the nearest train station. The two would ride for several stops before the killer handed Betty a note. He asked her not to read the letter until he left and got off at the next stop, and opened and read the note, which read, Sowley, stamped in red ink, followed by 3X, the man behind the gun. As was the case with Joseph Moisinski, authorities would find Noel Sowley's body the next morning before getting the story from the killer's only witness. At the scene, shell casings would be found that would match the gun used in Moisinski's killing. Other evidence found linking these two crimes would also include a newspaper clipping that was stuffed into Noel Sowley's shirt about the Moisinski murder, and in the margins was written in red ink the words, "Here's how." Police would eventually be led to Betty Ring and would get an eerily similar story as they had heard in the Moisinski case from Catherine May. The NYPD determined it had a serial killer on its hands, or potential serial killer on its hands. Soon the story of 3X was on the front page of every paper in New York City, as well as across the country. The New York Evening Journal and police received another letter, as well as a spent shell casing from 3X the day after the Sowley murder. And that letter read, "Some of our money was found on his person in the New York document and concluded 13 more men and 1 woman will go if they do not make peace with us and stop bleeding us to death." The Evening Journal decided to publish 3X letters on the morning of June 18th. They received another letter which read, "Tonight, 1 more will go."
We may let know 3X and the man behind the gun. He asked for no quarter, but will give none. On June 18th at 9 p.m., I will be at the College Point to get wide receiver V8.
WR V8.
No, wide receiver.
All right, V8. All right. He's a star wide receiver for the New York
wide receiver
Giants.
And a bottle of V8. I get it. Go ahead.
I don't even remember where we're at.
Keep my interest.
All right, so
now I'm thirsty.
They get this letter, and at this point, the New York Evening Journal decided that they were going to publish all the letters that they have received at this point, causing New York City to go into a complete state of chaos. On the evening of June 18th, over 2,000 police officers and detectives were deployed in the city of New York. This is like one of the funnier stories. Like, I get that this is all serious and stuff like that, but several hundred male police officers were dressed as women alongside from male officers, and they went to like lovers' lanes around New York City, specifically in College Point, so that they could try to like catch the killer in the act. This massive mobilization, however, did not yield the results detectives were looking for, as it was moderately quiet evening, and 3X certainly did not strike that evening.
I was only kissing Gary because we're in...
Oh, Gary looked cool, but he looks way hot in a wig, dude.
I was only kissing because we were in disguise, and we were trying to convince that we were man and woman.
Please don't tell my wife.
That's it. I'm not gay.
Hell no, I ain't gay, man. Did you find where did you find those clothes? In evidence? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I found evidence. They definitely weren't in my closet.
They didn't have this dress in text.
I don't know why it fits me so well.
My wife thought it was crazy that I had it in this size.
I've been waiting for this my whole life.
I wanted to get bigger.
Man, this used to fit me better. Okay. The next day, 3X would write another letter to which he claimed...
So you're going to say it really slow. That way you never ask me to do this again.
Can I just keep doing it?
Dear Sir, V, R, V8, or C, P has returned the Philadelphia XV346 to me tonight after reading your paper. Also, $37,000 of blackmail money, thanks to God, if I may use his name. This means the following person will be spared. Wide receiver VS College Point, S12 College Point, K2 Brooklyn, Z3, the woman in question, the tall blonde, M6 NYC, XXV, New York Police Department detective. The following document is missing. Day 4344 and $38,000 for this document, and the following people are still marked for death. X14, X7, X21, X1, Y2, Y4, L6, bingo. All initials withheld too much of a clue for the super detectives of Baysides. Wozinski number was R9. Solely number was X4. Please print this final message to 7 men left on the death list. NJ CCK 2496.
Dude, you did so much better with that than I thought you were going to be. I have to just give you a round of applause.
I'm very annoyed with this. This is very dumb. What is the point?
Fantastic, dude. All right. The biggest takeaway from this letter is that 3X did not need to kill on June 18th because the documents he had been looking for had been returned to him. However, he clarifies there are still several men referenced who would see justice until the remaining documents had been returned. On June 19th, the brother of Joseph Moisinski received a letter from 3X asking about the remaining documents. Joseph's brother Paul sent the letter to police and claimed he had no idea what the letter even meant. It should be noted that the letter had been mailed from the city of Philadelphia, meaning the killer had traveled from New York City all the way to Philadelphia to mail it. On June 21st, the New York Evening Journal received what would turn out to be the final correspondence from 3X. Jamie, take it away in your most solemn German accent. I believe you can.
The last document, NJ 4344, returned to us on 19 at 9 p.m. Mission is ended. There is no further case for worry. Yeah.
Yeah. He's so sad. The mission is ended.
The mission is ended.
There is no further case for worry.
I thought that said he was a German spy.
Well, so I took out a huge section because this letter is massive. This last one specifically. Just because I did feel bad, especially about letter 5. The one you just read was letter 6.
Mm-hmm.
The letter 5 went on for 4 pages, and I was going to have you read the whole thing, but I messaged you. I was like, I don't think I'm going to have you read the whole thing because it just goes on and on and on. I kind of did the same thing with this.
It would have kicked you in the kicker.
So after being really sad about his mission being over and that no one needs to worry anymore because it's his final correspondence or whatever. He takes the time to explain his entire backstory about how he was a former officer in the German army who joined a secret organization known as the Red Diamond of Russia. What we didn't really get to show you in the letters, because we can't, is that next to 3X, there was always this upside down V and then a regular V right underneath it. The upside-down inverted V represented the Supreme Tribunal of the Order, and the regular V indicated his status as a special agent. The 2 Vs combined together to form the Red Diamond of Russia, the group to whom he claimed to be acting on behalf of. He claimed that both Moisinski and Sowley were defectors from this organization who were blackmailing them. He also goes into how he was selected to carry out this mission. He says that him and a bunch of the other agents all pulled cards from a deck, and whoever ended up with the King of Diamonds, which he ended up pulling that card, had to carry out this task of retrieving all the documents and killing people. Pretty wild.
Yes.
He finished the letter by claiming that he would be leaving the country and that any further letters from him would be forgeries. 3X would seem to hold true to his word, and no other crimes would be associated with him. No other letters would be officially attributed to him, and although several fake letters would appear over the years, they were all, for the most part, somehow debunked as not being original from him. 3X seemingly disappeared as quickly as he had come onto the scene and would leave behind, in my opinion, one of the greatest true crime mysteries I have ever come across. Jamie, what do you think? You don't think this is a good story?
I didn't say that.
You think it's not as good as
the
Zodiac?
Dude.
But okay. So I'm going to ask you some questions or some things that I think we should ponder.
First of all, how many shows have you watched on the Zodiac?
3?
No, more than that. They come out with one once a year. They just came out with a new one, and I watched it.
We watched it. We covered it. Or is this a new one?
Yes.
Not the one that we hated. Well, I guess I don't know if you hated it. I hated it.
The Where is Paul or whatever the fuck.
My step uncle Dave.
Yeah. No, there's a new one called.
Oh no, I don't know about this.
New one that just came out on Netflix.
I thought it was the same one. It was just on Netflix now.
Zodiac Listens or something. Yes.
Yeah, Zodiac Speaks.
Yes. Yes.
I thought, now that you mention it, I thought that was the same one, that it was, because it was on HBO.
Well, it's not.
Exclusively.
It's another Zodiac one.
Okay. I don't love that.
Okay, so...
You're not wrong. I just don't know how this story doesn't have more publicity.
Well, because it's confusing. He wrote really weird codes, and he killed 2 people, and that's it.
You're saying that his letters are more confusing than the Zodiac's?
No.
The Zodiac shit isn't even in English.
Well, he wrote his own code.
He used a cipher.
That's interesting. This is just CY14. Yeah. See you later. Now.
Yeah,
but gibberish.
Maybe it's sorry. Maybe it's not.
I'm sorry. You think this is a way better story than the Zodiac.
I think it's a better mystery than the Zodiac. 3X was never caught. And I think that there's a few reasons why investigators were never able to track him down.
And the Zodiac was definitely caught. So that's where it differs.
You think this guy was?
No, the Zodiac was never caught either, dude.
I get that. That's not what I'm saying.
I know, you're saying.
So I think to figure out who this guy was, we have to consider what his motive is for these crimes. And I think that's why I find this so interesting, is it's really difficult to tell. Is he, like he claims, actually a secret agent who is killing people on behalf of this spy organization? Is he just a standard style serial killer that's killing people for the fun of it and has this whole backstory because he
crazy
either wants to direct things away from himself or he thinks it's fun? Is this whole thing just like this whole story about X and the Red Diamond of Russia just a screen to throw authorities off of potentially either a scorned lover of either these women or these men? Or was he targeting these men for specific reasons that we don't really know? Some evidence that I have seen is that Joseph Moisinski had deposited just before he was killed, about a month before, $8,000 into his bank account, which at that time, I think equivalency was like $65,000 or something like that. A pretty significant sum. They also claimed that I believe they found a gambling ticket on him for $3,700, but I don't know if that ties directly into this. Maybe it's related to gambling debts or something like that.
Well, didn't they have like the letters that the 3X killer gave to the lady victims, like had the names of the people he killed?
Oh yeah, but it wasn't written at the scene.
No,
it was
he had it before.
Pre-planned.
So
these were definitely coordinated killings.
Yeah, that makes me think that he literally coordinated the whole thing.
I think for sure we can rule out the fact of like you know how some serial killers. How's my beer?
It was good.
Yep. Some serial killers are opportunistic killers. They see times that they can kill and they like pounce on those. This is not one. This is an organized killer. He has completely planned this whole thing out. And we definitely know that because, one, we do have these letters that he leaves with the women. And two, he, in the case of Moisinski, had already mailed the letter, the first letter to the police, before Moisinski was even killed. He also has these small little things that he does, like when he signals. Nothing, I didn't see any reports of like headlights or anything that he was signaling towards, but he's definitely making an effort to make it known that he's signaling someone about something. Whether or not he is, we don't really know. Do any of those jump out at you? This is why I find this case interesting, is because we can't even find what his motives are. You know, some of these mysteries, we just don't know who the guy is because we can't quite nail it down well. We know the motives for Zodiac, at least what he claims. And that's that he has to kill people. One, because he's a kind of deranged serial killer, but also he like had this whole thing where he was killing people because in the afterlife they become his slaves. Remember this whole thing from the Zodiac letters?
Sure do.
Yeah. Super weird. Like, unless you want to take it completely at face value, this whole serial killer or this whole secret agent thing seems pretty far-fetched. So I think we can automatically dismiss that. We don't really know what the motives are for his killing, which makes sure that we don't come anywhere close to figuring out who he is.
I thought it was like kind of into adultery because he raped the first girl because he like to kind of show her a lesson because she was sleeping with a married man, and he didn't rape the second girl.
But Betty Ring's interviews she made it seem like he was going to, until he saw that she was one, Catholic, and two, pretty much wearing this medallion that had a saint on it.
Oh,
so is he maybe religious?
100%. I think he was killing because that guy was cheating on his wife.
And we also get from his letter that he's also pissed off at that because he says that Catherine May is not the only one that Joseph Moisinski was shacking up with, that there was 4 or 5, I think, he references in his letter.
What a slut.
They did call him in the newspapers the Don Juan grocer, so thought that was interesting. He owned a grocery store.
The Don Juan. You know, it's like suave. It's not suave.
You don't know that, do you?
He's just a cheating asshole. That's what he is.
He's dead. He got super murdered.
Well, all these people are dead.
He's a victim.
All these people are dead.
Betty's not dead.
She's alive still.
Yeah, dude.
to this day.
No, I don't think so. I'm
I said
pretty sure.
everyone.
If she was, she's probably 90 at this point. She was 16 at the time of the murders
in 1932.
in 1932.
Yeah, she's fucking.
Me around 90.
Well, she's over 100.
Damn near. Okay, yeah, you're right. But just barely.
She's fucking
102.
They're all dead. This 3X killer's dead. I digress.
You don't know that.
I digress. Everyone's dead.
All right.
All my friends are dead.
Okay.
Where's
So
that?
you're thinking maybe potentially it's some kind of person that's like a missionary style killer where he's killing people that are doing bad stuff. I can live with that.
Oh, good.
Who was the 3X killer, and did he really just disappear? That's the craziest. Like, so I can understand where you're coming from. He's a missionary killer, but these people don't just stop, right? There are very, very few times, unless somehow he was arrested and for another crime
Something out
and was never tied to these ones. They don't just stop, and he makes a point to just stop. He doesn't ever write the newspapers again. Here and there, we have what are suspected to be fraud or like false letters that are sent to the newspaper. I saw that one was a woman had written to the newspaper with her husband's name published in it so that he would stop cheating on her.
Fucking quit it.
All 3X going to get you.
Love Samantha.
Love Samantha. I mean, 3X. Shit. There's a couple cases
where a hillbilly.
potentially.
This is all in New York City.
I know. See? Quit stepping out on me, sonny. All right.
I can't.
So there was a couple other cases that could have potentially been tied to the 3X killer. We have the Red Circle killer, who had a pretty similar MO where he was approaching men and women in secluded areas, shooting both of them, and then drawing red circles with lipstick on their foreheads. Just something that's kind of similar. This was happening in New York City.
Same time?
No, this was in 1937, about 30 years after, or 7 years after the 3X killings.
Yeah.
So that's the main one. There was another one where a guy, on the night that the police were in like full force around New York City, a guy was held at gunpoint and was potentially almost carjacked while he was reading it. It's kind of strange. So this guy's in his driveway and him and his wife are having a conversation, but he's still in his car and she's on the porch. And all of a sudden this guy walks up with a gun and says like, get out of the car. And so he's like, I'm not going to do that. And so then the guy gets in the car with him and puts a gun to his head and says, drive. And he says, I don't know how. And the guy just never moved. So this guy with a gun just got out of the car and then ran away.
Didn't just shoot him?
Didn't shoot him or anything. He just was like, you don't know how to drive? You're in the car, in the driver's seat.
Obviously, he was lying.
He's like, I don't know. I don't fucking know how to drive. He's probably hammered.
Good for him.
Wife took his keys. They were probably fighting about it. I'm just going to go out and sit in the front seat and drink my goddamn beer out here.
I'm going to go to my fucking favorite place.
The front seat of my fucking truck.
Ain't no one fucking listening or giving me a hard time. I'm in my fucking 1937 Ford.
Drive. I don't know how. I'm too hammered. I don't know how.
Hey, man, I respect that.
It's one of my, I like that. There's just like these funny little intricacies in this story. So we had one possible suspect that we did not bring up. It was a church sexton. Do you know what a sexton is?
I know the whiskey.
Okay. I don't know if that is at all tied into this.
I don't think so.
But pretty much it's a janitor. And he was of German descent.
Then?
Huh?
Why don't you say it's
because
janitor?
Everyone says that he was a sexton, and I want to be consistent.
You freaking sexton. It's 1930s.
They ain't sexton.
Where am I?
They barely have phones at this point. They can't be sexton.
Where are my trousers?
Anyways, this was the only person that kind of came close, but he was, or like, that was somewhat tied to. They had him, he had been arrested previously for check fraud and had maybe some domestic violence issues before. But both Catherine and Betty said that he was not the man. And keep in mind, these women were face to face and also rode on train. Catherine was raped by this man. They do have a composite sketch, which, did you get to see the composite? It's awful.
Is the one with the fedora?
Yes, it's really, really bad. It's like one of the worst composite sketches I've ever seen.
Yes, I've seen it.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Zodiac. It's like as useful as the Zodiac one is with like the mask on. It's just really like, man, that's the one you came up with. Just don't publish it. Just like, nah, we didn't get shit. That's not anything that you even need to send out to the public.
Is this your card?
Yeah. But anyways, this guy, Nick LaRoche, was said by both Catherine and Betty to not be the guy. And that is the closest that anyone even came to being a suspect in this case.
Yep. That's all I know. Amy? What do I think?
Yep.
I told you. I think he is a religious person killing people for the fact that they are creating adultery.
And this whole story about the Red Diamond of Russia is just like a smokescreen?
Yep.
Why did he just stop? How did he just stop?
If he was really a Russian agent, he wouldn't have said shit. He would just killed someone and then...
That's very true. That's like the biggest thing against like... But like that's the thing. Everything has holes that there's massive holes in all of the stories. So I don't know how you can attribute it to this is the motive or that's the motive. Like for the most part, none of it makes sense. That's why I think I like this case so much.
He could have also just been a crazy person that murdered people.
Yeah.
That will never have any reason why. Just like all the other murderers.
I don't know how many different like articles and stuff you went through, but there was a story where a drifter in Philadelphia claimed that he spent the night in a culvert with a guy who had a bunch of papers. He said, I don't think he ever said his name was 3X, but that he had killed 2 people and he had a bunch of documents in his backpack or his briefcase that were all encoded. And he said that he was heading from Philadelphia back to New York. He was going to go to New Orleans and then back up to New York again and then go home. Russia was where he was stationed.
Well, that makes sense. Could have been.
I don't know. Could be another drifter talking lies.
We'll never know. Yeah. Could have been drunk drifter.
Drunk drifting.
All right. What else we got?
I don't know. I think that's pretty much all I've got for the case. Like I said, I really like this case. I thought it was really fun.
I thought it was
one of my favorite stories. I can't believe I've never heard of it from the people that I talk to that like true crime. None of them have heard of this story either, which is crazy.
I thought it was highly entertaining.
Yeah.
I had a good time with it.
I think maybe because there isn't a huge body count is why this story doesn't get the notoriety
exactly.
it should.
It also could be that it was like from the 1930s.
Last question. Do you think Zodiac knew about this case?
Yes.
And do you think he replicated some things?
Yes.
Like maybe using some smoke screens here and there.
Mm-hmm. Or just like the whole writing to the paper.
Yep. Creating some hype about discussing with newspapers, finding like, people are usually at their most vulnerable at these lovers' lanes and stuff like that. Now, not all of Zodiac's murders took place there, but multiple instances. I think he knew about this case, and that's, I don't know, also interesting.
I'm sure that murderers also look into other murderers.
You think they do their research?
Yeah, it's kind of like hockey players. Like, hey, look at that. What a great move.
Birds of a feather.
Yeah. Everyone kind of looks after their idols,
Yep.
So I'm sure Jason was like, hell yeah, dude, Michael Myers had it.
That was a sick jumpsuit that he had. I want one.
So you just walk that slow and you can still catch these people?
Wait, so you don't even have to run? I imagine that's how Jason talks.
No, isn't it?
I don't know. I thought you were going to talk in like a maybe not appropriate.
I'm trying to think, isn't it Illinois? Where's Camp Crystal Lake at?
I believe Camp Crystal Lake is in Illinois.
Yeah, they're all from Illinois. All right, I digress. What else we got?
There it is. I don't think we've heard it once this episode.
Nope, that's it.
He digressed. I think that marks the end of the episode.
Goddamn guy digressed.
He done digressed.
Thank you. If you liked this episode, please go to our YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and click subscribe.
Also, guys, feel free to comment on any of the videos you guys are seeing. It helps us out a bunch, even just to say hi.
Like and subscribe. Like we said, comment. If you didn't like these episodes, then please Like and subscribe.
And comment. Let us know how much you hate it.
Call me as many names as you can.
Yeah, the mean ones. Say them.
Try me.
Listeners,
try me.
I want you guys to come out with the meanest things you can say to Jamie.
Oh, fucking
put it in the comments.
I'll take it, dog. All right.
Don't do it to me. I'm too fragile.
He's too fragile. All to me.
My poor little heart can't handle hate.
All right. That being said, make sure.